Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. We're your hosts, Eric Mando. This is episode 105. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, tech, and wealth so you can get your fees straight. Dale.
Hey, Ramirez, you're looking a little more tostado.
I know, right? We're filming at a different time today, and I guess apparently I got a lot of light during the morning time, but right now it's a bit dim. I don't have my studio. I've got the mood lighting on right now.
The mood lighting.
Mood lighting.
It's like the Ramirez, the clap, clap.
Right.
All right, moving on. So, what do we got this week?
All right. So we realized that last week we didn't even cover much Bitcoin. So we're going to try and get you some Bitcoin news for this week. I know right now the Bitcoin price isn't super exciting, but it is holding 100K. So that's always good news. But there's a lot of good news that keeps coming out here. So we're always talking about mass adoption, but now Jack Dorsey's company is putting BTC payments in the hands of millions of small businesses. With massive fee incentive. So have you heard about this one?
Yeah, and in fact, I met him like a few years back when I was in Twitter, as part of the joining of the company or the onboarding process for directors. Basically, he wanted to meet people, so the guy is very chill though, and he likes Bitcoin. Even if you remember, like, maybe a couple months back, they were saying that he is the real Satoshi.
That's right. They were saying he's a real Satoshi.
So I think that he's bullish on Bitcoin. So and I'm happy to see that he basically and his company integrating this zero fee uh, payment transactions through Square. So I have not been in lately in a place that they have a Square, but I think that maybe tomorrow or a couple days I'll be with my barber, and he has a Square, so I can ask him, hey, let me take a look to see if maybe I can pay in Bitcoin instead of cash.
Hey, that might be cool to take some screenshots. Well, you know what? I don't want to claim that this was my idea, but Jack Dorsey did try to sue us because we came out with a product called Square Crypto. This was before Square had any kind of crypto products out there, even talked about it. Now, of course, if Jack really is Satoshi, then okay, I didn't probably give him the idea. But if he's not Satoshi, then there's a chance I gave him the idea because he did send me that lawsuit saying you better not use that as your product name or we're going to sue you. So Jack, it's a freebie. I take commissions if you want. I'll give you my Bitcoin address.
Dude, I mean, that name, I cannot blame the guy. I mean, come on, guys.
Square Crypto.
It's like I'm not gonna call it McDonald's. I'm gonna call it McDonald's Crypto.
It didn't take long to get that letter from his lawyers. I'll tell you that much.
Maybe I am curious how they are able to detect it very quickly, right? Maybe they have a service.
They probably have a search service that just constantly checking for stuff, for sure.
The good news is that in US, for courtesy, they send you a cease and desist letter, right? So, so Ramirez has a collection of those.
That's a special one because it's from Satoshi. I should find that.
Do you have a frame?
I should. I need to. Well, anyways, for you guys, I think it's great news what Jack is doing here. Like Mando said, he's a big Bitcoin bull, and he's doing a lot of merchants like a big favor here. He's saying, hey, if you use Square, I'm calling it Square Crypto. If you use Block, and pay with Bitcoin, we're not going to charge you the merchant fees, right? Right now, Visa, MasterCard, whatever, they charge you your 2-3%, whatever it is for your merchant fees. Jack's going to give that for free. It's not a bad deal.
Not at all. And there is they already have 4 million merchants here in US and no fees until 2027. So awesome. I mean, I feel that these are the type of things that propel technology. They could always make cash in the middle, right? But they're investing several years to the product. So in that way, there is some adoption. I was thinking when I saw this, it's like we I don't think that we are ready yet for this. Maybe only few transactions will go through. And I think that because maybe right now I'm in the camp of Saylor, Michael Saylor, where he's saying, hey, Bitcoin is not going to be like your fiat. It's more about your storage, your savings account.
Hmm.
But the more that I think is that maybe because we have not reached the mass adoption, that in some point it will be ubiquitous. I like that word, ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. It's a lot of syllables there. You, I
Indeed.
think you are indubitably. Um, I think you're onto something there. Right now, I think. I mean, even from like a year ago, Bitcoin was in 60 something. Now it went up to 120 something. So it nearly doubled. So like I was mentioning earlier, like for a person that if they were to spend their Bitcoin to buy a TV, well, that TV just got twice as expensive, right? A year later. So that's like I think one of the obstacles, right? Bitcoin should probably level out at some point, or we start denominating everything in Satoshis. Maybe that's another thing that would kick it off. But I think until then, yeah, you're right. It'll probably be more of a savings tool versus like an everyday spending tool. However, this is going to be a good way for merchants to be able to grow their stacks, right? There's still a lot of people that are cool with spending their Bitcoin, just like buying whatever they need throughout the week. This is going to make sure merchants don't have to pay any fees on that, so they'll be able to do that with zero transaction fees. So merchants can maybe start stacking by offering services or products and things like that for Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing interesting about this is that they're using the Lightning network, which is faster than the actual network of Bitcoin. Because for the people that they have transacted and they use it, sometimes it takes several minutes. I'm talking about 20, 30 minutes to post the payment because in the network somebody has to verify and the pool, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So with this, it's almost instantaneously. That's the reason why they are calling it Lightning network, which it kind of showcases that the community is still developing on the rails and literally on the infrastructure for Bitcoin. And it's funny because it's almost what from 2009 it's almost gonna be 20 years, and still we're still like building this. So it takes time to rebuild all of the economy, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one of the biggest things about Bitcoin that a lot of people like about it is that it hasn't been hacked. So you don't want to introduce bugs into the system just because it is so strong and robust. So you have to be very careful with any changes that you make with it. So using something like Lightning's been around for a while already, but it's also going to take some time for it to get adoption and really make sure that it's safe to use. So I think for the most part, we've seen pretty good performance from it. It is really fast. It is very cheap to use. It's how a lot of a lot of these extra like features can be built on top of Bitcoin.
And for maybe the people that they don't know, they changed like Jack Dorsey changed the name of his holding company to Block Inc. And it used to be a Square something. Uh, and I feel that they changed it because it had to do also with some crypto for blockchain and things like that, different technologies. So, which in my mind is quite interesting. The other thing that they also own is the Cash App. Maybe some people, if they are not merchants, they also are aware that they have used Cash App, and that there's a bunch of features there where you can discover I guess in a live map who is receiving, who are those merchants that they are receiving. So if I will have a brick and mortar, I probably will start just using it because maybe that will get you free advertising in a way, right? It's because you're gonna get highlighted. It's like, hey, these people are receiving. So if you have a brick and mortar, try to accept Bitcoin because once again, it's free advertising for now.
That's true. Free advertising and potentially low fees
No fees in
gives you
this case.
opportunity. Yeah, and opportunity to build your stack if it's something that you're interested in doing. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's good news here coming out of a block from supposed or allegedly Satoshi or AKA Jack Dorsey. It'll
Dude,
be a pretty. It's gonna push crypto ahead. A lot of adoption. A lot more quickly that way.
I don't know how some people, executives or some of these entrepreneurs, the richer they become, the more hippish they become. So look at him on pictures, like he used to have a suit and all of that, right? In 2007 on that. And then he started getting more cool, cool, cool. And it's like, oh man, he just went hippie all the way, like almost no shoes. And like, so, but because in some point he had even a Vinny, like the beer and all of that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he turned out to be super super hippie. Anyways, I had another segment here though, which this one is imagine to just have a fat finger with 105 oopsie.
That's a really fat finger right there.
So, oh. Ah
Well, yeah.
man,
Speaking of fees, right? I heard about this one too. It's like beginner beware here. There is a trader that accidentally paid $105,000 in a fee on a tiny $10 Bitcoin transaction. So it's like that's a few too many zeros right there, buddy.
I need to stop because once that is done, it's done. That's the two side. I mean, we're obviously bullish. We like the technology. We're huge proponents of this. By the way, no financial advice, right? So, uh, but this is kind of the problems, right? That's the two sides of the coin. That basically because you have your own privacy, your own like way to protect your currency, transferable and all that. But once that you push it through the network, it's gone.
Yeah.
And some people, at least maybe this person is sending it to a wallet. But I know stories that actually people has like when they are copy and pasting, they don't copy the first character or the last character. It's like, oh shit, they send it to limbo.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stark reminder of like the complexities of self custody in general, right? Manual transaction inputs and things like that. Whenever you're just when you're sending your transactions using your wallet app. Um, the thing is, I have heard like this is not the first time this happens, right? This can happen somewhat easily if you're just not paying attention. You put the wrong thing in the wrong box or put too many zeros. But I have heard of the person contacting the exchange and trying to see if they can get at least part of the money back, right? When it's something kind of like that big or egregious there, right? That might be worthwhile to try and see, hey, like you just got $105,000 fee. Obviously, all your other fees are like pennies. Like, can you help me out here?
Yeah, I feel that if it's going to a wallet from a institution, I think that you might get a chance there. But if you're getting somebody like out of internet, like I don't think that you're getting your money back.
Absolutely.
So here maybe a tip and advice. Always check the first, basically all of the numbers right on the wallet.
Yeah.
I double check the last ones and the first ones just to make sure, or even better, just get the QR codes. Like
Mhm.
just scan the QR codes, and so that way you are able to transact it. Or do you have another way? Do you do
No,
transactions on?
yeah, that's basically what you've got to do. But even then, you got to be careful. A lot of times, I know when you're moving things around, you're copying and pasting these addresses, right? There are some exploits where these I guess hijackers are living on your laptop or whatever wherever you're doing this stuff, and they will see that you're copying an address into a wallet, and they will switch out that address. So like Mondo said, double check your address, but sometimes they can be real sneaky and it looks similar to the address you're looking at. So be super super thorough. Make sure the right to and from addresses are on there, the right amounts are on there. Make sure you've got the right units. Again, it is complex, and that's why a lot of people are they can be somewhat afraid of self custody, right? It's because one mistake can be pretty costly. Well, so I mean,
Maybe, maybe for those instances, you might be able to just use like Coinbase, like if you don't feel very confident, use Coinbase or Kraken or even Cash App now. And I and I feel that now they are getting into. I feel that now the banks are gonna have their own, right? You're gonna have like Wells Fargo wallet, Fidelity wallet, which they actually did. I just opened an account there just to test it out, and it feels so different, like from the tech companies versus the the legacy, like a banking
uh,
system. It's like took a while just to create an account. The wallet didn't show up like in many many
yeah.
hours. So, but it's getting there.
Yeah, that's true. And like we mentioned earlier about block, the more that people are used to using this kind of like on a day-to-day basis, it'll become a little bit more normal. You'll become more familiar with all the fields that are necessary and things like that. But hope that is still kind of one of the things that gives me butterflies whenever you're doing this stuff is like like don't mess it up. You've got to be really careful with this. So always double check your transaction details and try to use solutions like the Lightning Network for small payments, or stick with reputable interfaces, right? That calculate the fees automatically, so you don't have to manually do that stuff. So there's some ways to be a little bit safer.
Yeah, for sure. So what is next?
All right. So from individual user mistakes, we're moving into kind of systemic clarity here. So Washington's trying to clean up the regulatory mess with the Clarity Act that's coming out. Mando, but do you think this is really clarity, or do you think it's just a new set of problems?
Give me more context. What is the clarity?
So the Clarity Act is a bill that just passed the House, and it's really shifting crypto power from the SEC to the CFTC. Okay, um, but when you're thinking from the SEC is your stocks, right? CFTC, it's actually not the Federal Trade Commission, but but it is actually the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. So it's basically another segment of the Trading Commission. But basically, what they're there for is just to make sure that customers are safe-ish with their crypto. That's basically what they're saying. Versus the SEC has historically been very stringent in the rules, right? Lately, it's been loosening up, but this is like pushing it over into kind of next level where it could be wild, wild west again.
It is clear as mud water. It's like it's still the dust is settling, but it's still like it's like when you see maybe dust already on the floor, right? But it's still like very blurry. And I think that they are just fighting a little bit, like okay. And now the good news is that it's like they are not saying that it's poison rat, right? Poison rat square.
One step at a time.
Yes, so we are and basically use money for like drugs or pain drugs or whatever, right? Legal illicit things, right? So the narrative has changed. Now it's like they are fighting who is like, well, maybe your organization or my government institution should handle that. So I feel that in the next, it's just about time to that it happens that they might settle, and it will hopefully will give clarity. But right now, no.
It's really funny how they chose the name the Clarity Act because it's like, what are you guys doing again? Like, really, when we're talking about this, we're just like, we're right through it. It's kind of like, I'm not sure. But you know what? Here's one thing that I also just kind of what Mondo was alluding to is like, okay, they're making an effort to try and clear things up here, right? This was actually one of the first things that they started working on, like right after they started reopening the government again from the shutdown. So they got this out there as soon as they could. They got some initial votes in, and and as soon as it fully opens up, this is going to be one of the big things that they're pushing for. One of the things that that I have heard that really is going to be part of this that will make a difference um, and it kind of goes along with the whole thing that Jack Dorsey is doing in the block, is that they're right now, whenever you sell Bitcoin, you got to pay taxes on it, like your
Hmm.
capital gains taxes if you've held it for a
And
long
it's a
time,
nightmare,
to
like
keep track of all
accounting,
that.
keeping track
Yeah,
on like, oh, I got a freaking coffee in like Starbucks. Now I have
yeah.
to pay capital gains on that,
Yeah,
whatever, $10.
exactly. So apparently, in this Clarity Act, they're going to make an exception for a certain amount. I'm not sure what that amount is yet, but it should be amounts that lets you purchase things like daily type of things, right? And not have to report the taxes on it. So there's going to be some type of an exemption there for a certain amount. I know, like, and some of the things, like whenever you're paying your lawn care people or like a maid or something like that, if it adds up to over $300, you're supposed to report it and all that. Some of that has been scaled back as well. It's going to be kind of something similar. So maybe it's in that $300 range. It
Mm.
might be in that $1,000 range. I'm not sure, but that's what they're saying. So that way you could go out, buy your lunch, and I have to write down on your ledger, the taxes that you owe from spending your crypto to do that. So that's, I think, one of the key things that a lot of people are pretty excited about. Hopefully that level is a little bit higher, because then it becomes a lot easier. Like people that are using the block app, those merchants, they don't have to worry about having to give people, I don't know, like a 1099 or something when they purchase something from the store. Like it's just kind of like, it'll be kind of weird. So hopefully all of this is coming together all at the right time. So it really does make it a lot easier. People don't have to really worry about it or think about it too hard whenever they're trying to use their crypto just on day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. The other thing that this the Clarity Act is also trying to define what is a digital asset, which is strange to me because I mean, even the word is so generic, but they're trying to also define the bill like is this as a digital commodity, which I can see how they're trying to peg it because that has been some of the narrative that even Sailor has been trying to push on the digital, like digital gold, but now it's Bitcoin, right? So uh, we'll see. I think that I'm optimistic that, and I'm happy that the government is honoring their word, right? Because that was kind of this administration, kind of the part of their campaign. It was like the Bitcoiners and the crypto bros, right? So I
Yeah.
feel that they are pushing it through. So which is great.
Yeah, yeah, definitely good. So digital commodity, it'll be treated just like gold or oil or any other commodity that is traded out there, versus the real stringent, the Gensler era crackdown on crypto, right? With the SEC, those days are gone. So it's really good. All while they're doing this, there's a new nominee for the CFTC, Mike Selig. He's going to be heading for a confirmation hearing for that. So
Who do you think
he,
that? What do you think that Gensler was very against it? Like, who do you think that was
I
behind
think someone
that?
had photos of him doing something.
This is in the Epstein list or whatever.
Yeah, maybe he got his hands on one of those Neo robots before everyone else did. I don't know. So
Eh,
someone
but
had
but
photos of him.
I
No, actually, I have no clue, because he did all those early. What was it? Was it MIT?
yeah, he was
The
actually.
MIT
I don't want to
professor.
say that he was not pushing it through, but he was like
He was like a
receptive to.
proponent. He was a
Yep,
champion,
yep.
for it.
And
So
suddenly,
it was
boom.
very odd how it just kind of flipped on that.
And the
So
other thing is
pretty
like
interesting.
um, like maybe it might be totally political, right? So because it's strange that that's and even everybody was asking him like why you cannot define these, right? And he will not say an answer, right? So uh, but yeah, I'm glad that season is over. It
Yeah,
was so
exactly.
irritated and frustrated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But it's almost like we had to go through that to get where we are now, right?
Hmm.
So I think this Clarity Act is going to bring a lot of clarity and bring a lot of momentum into this space. So that's definitely good news here. All right. Moving from policy and finance into just pure tech, we saw a pretty big headline this week, and we kind of alluded to it earlier. That's proving that funding dollars, even hot sectors like AI and robotics, Well, they don't always flow where you expect. So we heard about Mando's buddies over at K-Scale. Let us know what they told you.
So first, it was like this week, right? I got an email because I basically when there was a waiting list to be able to get a kit, like basically you get a robot, right? Like it was they have a package that is between $8,000 to $16,000 depending what you chose, which is basically great, right? Like a 10K robot is like the best offer out there, right? So then I went to Bay Area maybe a month ago in October. I met the guys over there. I was able to see like the robot walking. They gave me a tour in the shop and all of that. So the CEO, which is his name is Ben, he was very excited. I think that they were about to. They had maybe some meetings with investors. He didn't want to share, but that was fine. So I was pumped. I was like, "Hey man, I want to receive my freaking robot by December, probably, right?" And suddenly this week, man, like I get an email and
Surprise.
surprise, you're not getting a robot. You're getting a refund. so so the email basically states that the landscape has changed, that he was not able to raise the capital. So he raised about 4 millions on to be able to get the company up and running. They have been working for almost year and a half, a little more than that. They have the product. There were about 200 orders on there, and but despite all of that, they were planning to. They were winding down the company. They were not able to raise the next wave to be able to continue the operations. So I don't know, man. I feel that it's a little bit of a cash flow issue that sometimes if you're not careful, this happens because you are like waiting to just for funding, right? Like that's the typical Silicon Valley type of mentality, in my opinion, and and it's tough because now the company is like literally winding down. So I'm planning to just reach out to him more directly and try to figure out if there is any opportunity to salvage, because right now everything is open source. So there are some pieces that he has under license, the hardware parts, but the software is basically MIT, which is, if you are not familiar with it, it's almost, I don't want to say widely open, but it's basically as open as it could be. So uh, yeah, kind of sad because they were the guys that they were planning to do like the open source type of robot, and now that they are belly up, is they're not competitors. I mean, you have the Chinese companies, Unit 3, right, or the American ones that like you see the difference between a Unit 3 and a freaking Optimus, and Optimus is still doing the robot the robot dance.
Yeah.
So what do you
Yeah,
think?
very true.
What do you think about it?
No, I mean, when I first heard about them, I thought, hey, these guys look fairly organized. It looks like they should be able to pull it off. It didn't look like they were after like it wasn't like a big money grab. They really cared about trying to get humanoid robots out to consumers. They were basically packaging it at a cost that they were just making just enough to keep them going. They weren't trying to like make a huge profit off of them. They were just trying to keep their project going. And the guy, and it seems like he was destined for this. His last name was Bolt. Benjamin Bolt. I don't know. It seems like a very like a mechanically robot builder kind of guy, right? With that name, he had a good pedigree, right? He worked at Tesla as a senior autopilot engineer, so he actually helped with running some of the code for Optimus Robots 3D vision system. So he had experience there. He also worked at Meta's on their AI research team. So he had a good amount of background information, and he obviously had a good idea of what it was going to take to actually build something. Um, so it is sad to see that it didn't get to where he wanted to, but the good thing is there are other folks that are taking on this open source approach, just like Hugging Face and things like that. So there are some folks that are still out there. I'm sure they're going to make K-Scale is going to make all of their stuff that's open source available for people that want to kind of continue things. But it seemed like a pretty good project. It seems like they were going to actually get out there with something. It's just they got almost there, and then I guess they couldn't see how they could produce everything and have enough people to actually build all of these and take people's money. He just didn't see a way out of it with to deliver all the robots that he wanted to, and unfortunately they had to shut it down. At least you got your money back. They gave you 100% back.
So yeah, I'm quite surprised because even in the email says like, hey, I'm gonna try to get you guys your money back, but even I might be short on that, but no, they return it. So I was looking into your last name Ramirez, and basically it is son of Ramiro, which is basically coming back from it will be a famous counselor. So I guess you are meant to do YouTube.
Yes. A counselor, really.
A counselor. Is counsel or wise? So a
Oh yeah,
famous counselor or a
quite
wise
wise.
protector. Wise protector.
Very interesting. Well, what about Gomez?
I think that is just a son of a man or something like that. Let me see. I was destined to
Okay.
be a man.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's a son of a gomo, which is which means man, son of a man.
Oh yeah.
It's so lame, man.
Well, well.
I should just rename it.
Yeah, right. Made up your first name. Well, might as well do the next
So
one.
why not?
Mando Gomo.
Mando Gomo, Mando Gomo. Sounds better.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you know what? I mean, maybe this Benjamin guy, he saw the writing on the wall because really, I know. I think some of the information that he gave us, he said that he met with the 1X folks, the people that just came out with that other robot that just was announced a couple weeks ago, right? That we put our pre-orders in for. Might as well for that. It was a $20,000 robot. I think he met with them to try and get some funding, but you could see like on the other side of the world in Unitree, uh, those robots looked really good. And we've talked about it. Like when we're talking about products, we got to think about, the timeline. By the time we get something out, where will the industry be? Like we want to be able to deliver something that is appropriate for that time frame. And maybe he was seeing like, oh man, we're just building these kits right now, but you got Unitree doing backflips and stuff. It's like he maybe started to feel some of that pressure, like, man, we're falling behind.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stand up the manufacturing and building 10 is doable, but if you're trying to build 1,000, that's a lot harder, right? Your tooling is a lot different, and he started to see that building up.
Yeah. I mean I understand, but that was the challenge, right? So I feel that maybe he miscalculated the cash flow because they didn't have only a couple 100K. 4 millions is a good runway. But yeah,
Mhm.
sad for the robotics community.
Yeah, and maybe this has something to do with it. Apparently, like the month prior, also one of his co-founders, Jin Chang Mo, he departed to focus on another venture, and supposedly it was supposed to solve another critical problem for robotics and physical AI in the U.S. So maybe he saw like down the line. A lot of times when you're working on a product, you see like a big problem that's going to need to be solved, right? So you end up pivoting. So maybe this guy saw that problem and says, no man, I'm going to pivot. I know this is a fun project for now, but I really see that's where we need to go. And maybe there's a disagreement or whatever, but they had to shut it down to really go chase maybe with what that other problem that they say. I wonder what it is. Maybe when you talk to him, you can ask him what this his co-founder ended up working on.
Yep, yep.
Well, you know what? I think that's all we've got for today. Hopefully, you liked it. Please let us know. Like, subscribe, comment. Um, hope we'll see you again next time. Dale.
Dale. Bye.